put it very simply, you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you said because I'm in a previous episode that I was talking to one of my friends who is big into sort of jiu-jitsu and grappling, and he done a little bit of kickboxing, and I train and inspire boxing. And we were talking about it, and we were saying that potentially if you took someone who was from a complete zero base knowledge, we were saying it would be easier to teach them the basics of boxing than the basics of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I think so personally. I mean, I'd find it easier to explain boxing to someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not hard.
No.
I think just explaining it, I think it's quite... for me personally, it's quite harder to explain jiu-jitsu, especially like, say you're in a corner for someone and you're yelling out instructions. It's like
put your hand here.
Left hand to the hip, right hand to here. Whereas you're explaining striking. It's like throw your left hand more.
Yeah.
Snap it out more, like bring it back to your face. Like
he's
I feel like
it's
easier to sort of explain. There's less that needs to be said.
Yes, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
That's why I look at it. There's just a lot less that needs to be said. Mm-hmm. Less mechanics, I want to say.
I would agree. My limited jiu-jitsu exposure compared to what I understand about boxing. Yeah, maybe less highly specific mechanics and hand placing and stuff like that. That makes a lot of sense. What do you think about, I suppose, the role of traditional martial arts in something like an MMA? Because obviously you have fighters like Wonderboy who are karate style.
Like a specialist.
Yeah, but generally speaking, is there a place for that? Like your karate, your taekwondo?
I think there's a place for everything. It's just how you use it against who.
Have you employed anything like that in your training? Have you had any exposure?
I'm trying to think of like what not really, I'd say. Like maybe I've probably just sparred with people that kind of have those styles.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I've really done too much of it myself. Like I enjoy sparring people that have done taekwondo because they're very side on.
Yeah, they're very bladed.
So which leaves them open to leg kicks.
And that's why I was asking. Yeah. Do they generally, because obviously you might have an exception like a Wonderboy. Yeah. But generally speaking, would something like a karate, taekwondo, what might be some other ones?
I'm trying to think of
like an aikido maybe or something like that.
I wouldn't say. From my experience, I don't think aikido has too much that can be utilized in MMA, but I could be very wrong.
No, I mean,
I don't know.
I'm asking you in your opinion.
Yeah. Like I don't know the sport too well, but from what I have seen of aikido, like don't know how much of it transfers over to MMA.
Yeah, and with the taekwondo or karate, because they're so side on. That's what I mean. Like, does it convert well? Because you're right, that front leg might just be there for you to chop at.
I think it's just how they utilize it. Like, you need to be, if you're employing that kind of style, you need to be aware of the weaknesses of that style. Mm-hmm. So if I think Wonderboy, like having that style, he's quite good at being in and out. Mm-hmm. So he's like constantly bouncing in and out. So by doing that, he's like probably negating that leg kick that would be there. Like you see a lot of boxers will get leg kicked as well.
Yes.
Because they're very bladed as well, but they're not so much doing that same sort of in and out like a karate person would.
Yeah. I think another example would be like an early Conor McGregor. He was sort of known for that karate stance.
Yeah.
And if you see him like before he fought Aldo, he was doing that. He was just in and out, like just bouncing on his feet, really bladed, but out of range.
Yeah.
Because I've always thought that. I've always wondered about...
I think everything has its place, definitely.
Yeah.
I think like, for me personally, I think like... boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, they're like your main four.
Your cornerstone
definitely.
ones almost.
And then I think like it's definitely good to try and take away
little elements.
Little elements from like taekwondo, some of the certain kicks, because I mean, you're throwing those weird like spinning heel kicks, you'll catch someone.
Yeah.
We've got a few, like one or two people that throw them in the gym and it just fucks you up.
Does it? Just throws you off?
Throws you off. Like they're not obviously throwing it too hard, but like, you know, they throw it and you're like, oh, fuck, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's definitely a good tool to have in your arsenal. Mm-hmm. But then obviously you're not relying solely on them. You need to have your cornerstones and whatnot as well.
Yeah. And not just for MMA, but from a MMA fighter, what would you say if someone came to you, right, and they said, I don't have any experience, but I want to learn something so I can defend myself just like I am capable of self-defense just in life. Yeah. What would you direct them to? Because there's so much debate over street fighting, and it's sort of like, what's the best? I mean, the best thing to do is not do it. But if you were to say to someone, all right, learn this for just life self-defense, Where would you direct them? Because there's so much debate between jiu-jitsu guys, boxing guys.
Because like I've always like part of me is always like jiu-jitsu, definitely, but then it's like you're not always going to be able to get close to someone, or you might be in a spot where. What is it? Like multiple people.
Yeah.
So like, say you take it to the ground, but then
his mate's gonna come kick you.
He kicks you, stabs you in the back.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard one to like say this is the one.
Yeah.
I definitely think just going into an MMA gym. And
like
just
MMA and tick all the boxes.
Yeah, definitely.
Just tick all the boxes.
Because I mean, it definitely helps to have jiu-jitsu. Like you get some guy on top of you, you can know how to get back up.
Sort him out. Yeah.
Throw a triangle, like catch him while he's on top of you. In a situation where there might be multiple people, is like having an understanding of boxing and range is a massive thing of like knowing where, like what I mean by range is where you can be hit, where you can't be hit, knowing those, understanding those ranges and distancing and whatnot. So like maybe there's multiple people, you can understand your range better. They come in, you pop them off one at a time.
And also
or at least one of them
how
and
to
then run.
punch.
Yeah.
Knowing how to technically throw a punch.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I got mates and like I've taken them to the gym sometimes and like I'm not saying I'm like amazing, but I look at them like you can't even punch. Like,
I think we've all been there and we just seen people and we're just like we've had a little laugh, but then there's that small part of you that it's like I probably was that at some stage. 100%. I don't think I was, but I probably was. But you do some people that they have no idea.
Yeah.
But like I say that like I try to be like more respectful these days. Like maybe they have no idea, maybe they can't fucking box, but they're probably intellectual, they're probably smart at so many other things. So it's like you can't box, but maybe they're a fucking millionaire and they're doing
you're doing something
so
right.
I'm like I'm giving him shit because he can't box, but he's probably doing other things amazing.
But I mean I do feel like for everybody having an element of I can defend myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying I want to get into a cage. I'm not saying I want to go have a professional boxing fight. But just I know that in life, I am capable of defending myself. It's an important skill to have.
Definitely. I think everyone should do it because for like being able to defend yourself somewhat and confidence.
Yeah.
Like the confidence it gave me is like, I definitely like had my, I guess, I don't know, everyone, it's a big thing that gets mentioned, like mental health issues, like anxiety, whatever it is. And I feel like that just slowly didn't obviously disappear, but I was better at dealing with it because I was just more confident in myself and like, just more confident overall just from doing that sport. Definitely more confident walking down the street by myself, you know what I mean? Like, especially these days because, I mean, you can't see it with these earphones on, but like one of my ears is like quite cauliflowered.
Oh, you got cauliflower ears?
Yeah, like quite stands out.
Yeah.
So the upside of that is like
someone sees it and they're like, oh.
Well, it's a good thing. I don't really go out anymore. Like I don't really drink heaps or whatnot. Like it's just not worth it.
You're training all the time.
Yeah, like I still enjoy a drink, but when I do go out, it's nice walking down Harney Street. Someone might, look you up and down, see the ear, they look away, they don't bother you.
Yeah, 100%.
Great. Whereas before, as you might get someone that, oh, you're a small little fella.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick on you. Whereas now they see the ear, they leave you alone.
That's a sign. That's a warning sign.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and it's weird sometimes though, because you'll be in the urinal when you got some guy like starts having a chat to you while you're taking a piss, and you're like, "Oh, you're a rugby player? Do I look like a rugby player?" Or the common one is like, "Oh, seen you, I wouldn't want to mess with you," and I'm like, "Right, sweet, cool.
Yeah, don't.
Cool, don't. Sweet." It's like you hear it all the time, but I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah. It's good that people can read that and know not to fuck with you.
But just I recommend everyone do it. Like the confidence you get for it, like I feel like it sounds cliche, but you kind of become a better person. Like I feel like when I first started getting into it, I still like the idea of going out on the weekend and getting into a scrap. Like that was still cool in my eyes. Whereas like you start training and you realize how stupid that is. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why get into a scrap in the street? We can do it in the gym.
Safe environment.
No one's really going to get hurt. Like, it just makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like when I was younger, I just thought it was cool getting in a scrap and, it was fun and whatnot. And you don't realize how bad that can be and like how much that can affect your life. Like,
Oh, dude.
like you could You could not king hit someone, but you could hit someone hard. They're knocked to the ground. They die. You're in jail.
Yeah, you're in jail for your
Or
rest of your life.
you could get fucked up. Like,
yeah, you don't know what someone might have a knife. Someone might have a fucking gun.
Exactly,
and
you don't know what they
You might
know.
have 10 mates.
but you don't know if he fights.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, unless you got Cliff Larry.
But like that's the thing is like through doing that is like you kind of get that respect of it's not so much. It's not always like just what you know. Like, oh yeah, I could probably mess this guy up. It's like I don't know what they know.
100%.
Like I'm confident in myself, but like I don't know if that guy's like a, like world champion boxer or something. You have no idea. So like it makes you more cautious of what you say to people. Like I'll back myself, sure, but I'm
As you should, yeah.
less likely to say the wrong thing to someone and whatnot. I'm a lot more careful of what I say to people. The only time you'll see me in any kind of scuffle if I'm out is if I'm looking after a mate. That's the only time I really get involved.
You've sort of step in to help.
Just try and
Diffuse it?
Diffuse it, that's the word.
Yeah. I mean, that's funny because I remember somebody said this to me like one of the first times I ever went to a boxing gym. And they said the more that somebody knows how to fight properly, the less likely they are to get into a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is sort of like, I feel like it's a perception a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
They think that someone like yourself, who's obviously a great fighter, and they know how to fight, and then they're like, he's going to go out and they're just fucking starting fights.
Yeah.
It's actually the complete opposite. Yeah,
yeah. But like, I will say though, like, this is going to sound really bad, but like, if it does happen and I'm like kind of forced into that situation, I kind of like it. Like, I like it. And what I mean by that, and that might sound quite weird, is like, I'm comfortable with violence.
Yeah.
Like I guess, and like, it would make sense with what I do. I'm comfortable in those situations. I'm comfortable with violence. I suck at so many other things. I hate making phone calls. You gotta be like, you gotta call this person. You gotta book an appointment. That shit's like stressful for me. Violence, I'm comfortable with. So if something goes down, it's like, all right, cool. I know what to do here. I know how to handle this situation.
Yeah. I think that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And like, this might be a hot take that I'm about to throw out. I think being comfortable with violence is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
again,
violence might happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Violence may happen. Like, as unlikely as it is. So it's unlikely, like, if I go out, like, I'm 21, if I'm going out on a night out to town, as unlikely as violence might be, it could happen.
Yeah.
So being comfortable with the idea of it happening, and I suppose, as you said, confident in your ability to deal with it, is a good thing. Yeah,
I guess to an extent, but then sometimes there's like comfortable and there's sort of like...
And there's just being a fuck it.
Well, no, but there's like sometimes maybe I like it. Like again, I'm not going to go out and start a fight, but then if it's like someone like backs me in a corner and I've kind of got to do something about it, there's that little part of me that's sort of like...
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like, yeah, all right, let's go then. Like, if you give me no other choice, like...
Yep.
And that kind of sounds bad. But again, like I said, I'm not going out in the streets causing fights. I'm not...
Yeah, as long as you're not doing that, which
it's sort of just like when it's like forced upon me and I have to do it, I'm like, oh, cool.
Well, there's a difference between, I suppose, wanting to fight and being willing to fight.
Yeah. I think it's more so I'm willing.
And that's what I mean. I think
fight.
Willing is a good thing. Like, you shouldn't want to.
Yeah.
But if it's forced on you and the other person's in your face and you've tried and you've said, mate, fuck off, like it's done, don't do this. And he's like, no, like we're doing it. Being willing in your, like you were describing, I almost see that, honestly, I see as a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that having your view on it is better than having a view on it of, I can't do it, I'm never going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do if it does happen?
Yeah.
Like, are you just going to get mugged? Are you going to get bashed? Like,
yeah,
you get your
exactly.
fucking teeth kicked in? Like, someone like you, like, I think that's a great outlook. I mean, maybe someone's going to hear it and go, like, oh, it sounds bad, but...
It might be bad, but it's like, again, I'm not out there looking for trouble. But sometimes when it comes upon you, you're like, all right, well, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. I think my personal view is I think your outlook is very good.
Yeah.
I think it's good. And quick like swerve. I also read in the interview Max